Holden has taken its sweet time launching a competitive medium SUV to rival the Nissan X-Trail, Honda CR-V and Mazda CX-5. But that's just what we have here. The Equinox is an incredibly important member of Holden's now fully imported local range. And here we're taking our first proper look. Better late than never, right? It's clear right off the bat that the Mexico-made Equinox is a cut above the well past its prime Captiva, sold up to now principally by being cheaper than everything else. It's not exactly sexy, but the exterior design is contemporary, particularly that Holden-specific face. Our test car with its 19-inch wheels and roof rails has some style. The range kicks off a tick under 30 grand for the entry-level model, but here we have the Equinox LTZV with its drive-away price of around 50 grand. About par for the class. It's brimming with bling inside, from the 8-inch touchscreen that has proper sat-nav as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, perforated leather seats with heating and ventilation, a wireless phone charging pad, a massive panoramic glass roof and even a heated steering wheel. You also get a suite of active driving aids like blind spot monitoring and a forward collision alert. Oddly though, there's no radar guided cruise control. Yet despite the long feature list, the Holden Equinox's cabin doesn't exactly feel like a luxury SUV's, particularly in terms of material quality. Rather, it feels more like a mainstream SUV just stuffed full of equipment, which it technically is. High-end Astras have the same issue. The Equinox's back row has a ton of really cool amenities, including rear air vents, 2 USB ports, heated seats, a 12-volt input, and even a 230-volt power point. Now that is really handy indeed. The seats themselves are also pretty comfortable and trimmed in really good grade leather. In fact, the only downside that I can find back here is the fact that the sunroof definitely impacts on headroom. Open up the electric tailgate and there's a false boot floor that hides a novel second cubby. Plus levers here to flip down the middle seats, once you've annoyingly removed the middle headrest, that is. Alas, there's only a space-saver spare wheel. Like most other Holdens, the Equinox has suspension and steering calibration reworked by the company's R&D team at its proving ground in regional Victoria to make sure that this car handles local roads as well as possible. The extra effort shows, just like similar tactics do on the rival Hyundai Tucson. The Equinox absorbs bad Aussie roads with long-legged ease, ironing out square edges and corrugations alike despite the flashy wheels. The steering is really well weighted, though the urban turning circle is nothing to write home about. And body control is excellent as well. The car stays relatively flat through corners and settles quickly after undulations. In a novel touch, the part-time all-wheel drive system allows you to decouple the rear wheels at the push of a button. There are also soft roading aids such as hill descent control. Engine-wise, base versions of the Equinox use a 1.5-litre turbo petrol matched to either 6-speed automatic or manual gearboxes, but upper grades, like the one we're testing here, have a 2-litre turbocharged engine with 188 kilowatts of power, and that's more than any other contender in the class. It's matched as standard to a 9-speed automatic transmission, with a fairly silly manual override mode that uses a button on top of the shifter instead of paddles. It is a really spirited engine as you'd expect, with excellent rolling response, though perhaps not quite as much low-down torque as the brilliant engine in the Tiguan 162 from Volkswagen. Fuel misers might also want to wait for the 1.6-litre diesel Equinox that lobs sometime next year, because we've been averaging about 10.5 to 11 litres of fuel every 100 k's. Okay, so first impressions tell us that the Equinox isn't quite a game changer. However, it's eons ahead of the Captiva. It's great value for money, it's practical and spacious inside, and in the high-grade LTZV, as tested, has a class-topping turbo petrol engine. Now, the medium SUV segment has boundless competition, and Holden has a hell of a lot of ground to catch up, but at least the Equinox gives it a fighting chance. Best of luck.